Okay, hello everyone. My name is Laquan Williams, and in this video, I wanted to do the review on the topic and the subject matter of the DC Legends of Tomorrow episode that aired today on the Sunday, the 11th of July, 2021. The episode is the ninth episode in the current sixth season that they're in. It's been renewed for a seventh one that could be probably the last one, upcoming very soon. But the episode was aired today. Similar to what we saw, obviously, with obviously Baby Yoda. They're having this alien called Gus be the focus of this whole entire thing. The episode is called "This Is Gus" instead of "This Is Us." So this little Furby, if you ever grew up in the '90s, this character kind of looks like Furby, the kind of a furry type of little character that looked kind of funny, who had big eyes, and every time you pressed his hand, I believe he would say something, or they would say something similar to that. Basically, that's what happened. They had this alien-like character, similar to Bebo a couple of seasons ago. Big, a little alien. He was small, looked like Furby, obviously, like I said. The focus of this episode was them traveling into 2023 and Vancouver, British Columbia, where actually they shoot all of these shows at. All these American shows get shot in Columbia for some reason, I guess because of the scenery and the atmosphere, but they all seem to shoot them there. Obviously, bigger places like New York and LA is where they obviously shoot other things, or New Zealand, Australia. They shoot big, huge movies down there, like The Lord of the Rings and whatnot. Other movies just like that are similar, like a lot of these superhero movies. But anyways, so the whole entire team, the Legends, were there. They went into 2023, into the future, to get this alien, find it, and obviously capture it to stop the anomaly from happening, which this alien's killing people, possibly screwing over the multiple timelines and whatnot. What I noticed in this episode is that John Constantine is not in this episode. He was not in it at all or mentioned, but he will be in the episode next week, so we'll see what happens with that, and what the continued storyline will be with his whole ordeal that he's dealing with, which is obviously him losing his magical powers, and obviously not being able to help the team when they need him, obviously, because he obviously can't use his powers, and he's going to try to find that fountain of Imperium, I think that's what it's called, that Gary, who obviously is an alien now, he knows about, and it's ancient, old, alien technology, and I guess it's similar to obviously what we can see on the show as far as when they had obviously the Lazarus Pit, which obviously was similar to that, but it brought people back to life. But this is obviously going to help people gain magical power, obviously, and become more powerful. So that's obviously what we could see. Sarah Lance obviously went through that, and Oliver Queen, other people involved in the CW TV universe, and obviously with the Ra's al Ghul situation, and the League of Assassins, obviously with Nessa, and obviously his other daughter Talia al Ghul, and that whole situation. So that's obviously over. But they went there. This was Bayrod's birthday. Everybody forgot. So he obviously had to. He thought they were lying and forgot his birthday party to surprise him, but they actually forgot his birthday. And obviously, his Zari is not his regular sister. That's another version of her. She forgot it too, so everybody forgot his birthday. They went to his favorite TV show that he was watching as a teenager in high school or whatever, or going into college, I think it was, possibly. It's this like stoner type of show with two brothers on it, and they went to the whole entire show, the set, to help obviously prevent the alien from screwing up things there. The alien did not actually kill anybody in this episode, but that happened. Mick Rory, his daughter, came up in this episode and popped up, and she hasn't been on the show in like months. Now she's of course pregnant, and he got to meet her boyfriend at the end of the episode, and that was kind of random. We also learned that Mick Rory is apparently pregnant with aliens that are growing on the back of his neck. I thought that was really weird. But the episode we also got to see in this episode, Zari, the other version of her that's obviously not shown on the show because she's inside their magic totem that they have on their hands, like their magical wrist bracelet jewelry that they have that allows Zari and Bayrod, obviously right here, to use their obviously powers to help the team out. She's obviously in there because both of them can't exist obviously outside, because it's going to screw up the timeline, and they'll obviously both disappear. So two different copies of people obviously would not work like that. So one of them has to live in a different area, like even in another timeline. She's kind of like isolated from them inside that totem with their apparent ancestors, who obviously she's with. But we've been seeing and hearing that for years now, and we've never seen any ancestors or whatnot. It's just usually her in a nice quiet area, and like she's by herself, and that's basically it. But what I thought about this episode was it was terrible. I thought it was cringeworthy. It was a bunch of BS that I didn't like. It was really weird. It felt overly political, the message, and it felt like it was like basically a recruitment for a propaganda for like for anybody watching the show. It just felt like it felt really weird. Like what I was saying for the recruitment for it is basically for it seems like always something's everybody. There was always something to like I guess basically be upset about or something. Like it just felt weird. Nick Rory's daughter just comes out of nowhere and says, "I'm donating all the money that you gave me to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's presidential campaign." So I don't know what was up with that, but I don't know. I obviously don't know why. But well, actually, I do know why. Hollywood just continues to push their BS propaganda and all types of stuff, and it's actually been getting really annoying, and to the point where I actually, just like most people, don't even like really bother wanting to watch a lot of these shows anymore. But we have to unfortunately watch it to the end to see obviously what happens. We don't have to, but some of us obviously do, because we're I guess you can say avid watchers and listeners, so we always want to see how something ends. Like some people could say, I stopped watching the show Lost a couple of years before it actually went off the air, and now I have to go back to see what happened because I didn't know what happened at the time because I was lost. But because I was not lost obviously because of the show, but because I was left out of the loop, left out of the whole entire the discussion. You were uninformed. You missed out. That's basically what I seen here. Just watching this episode, a lot of terms that they use. I'm just like, I don't know why they continue to do this. They do this randomly on some shows here and there, but on the CW for the most part, they've done it here and there. It hasn't been shown on any other shows I've seen this far. As far as actually, I don't watch Stargirl or Batwoman, and I never watched Supergirl. Superman and Lois seems to be going well. They tried this a couple of years ago with Green Arrow. There was a whole gun debate episode where it was involved, where it was like a whole stance on gun violence and whatnot, and they try to insert all these political factions and I guess you can say statements and notions into episodes, and in this TV show having the debate, and they actually don't even fit in there at all. Because especially on the Green Arrow, I thought the whole guns debate, gun rights situation with obviously the shootings that happened around that time, I thought that was really weird, because this is a show where that's usually what everybody uses on the show, besides Oliver Queen and anybody else who obviously is a superhero who has powers. Obviously he uses arrows. And then after that, of course, obviously you're like, John Diggle uses guns. Everybody else on that show uses them. All the bad guys that they fight. And of course Mad Dog, who obviously was a character on the show, that was his signature weapon of choice, was two wielding handguns in his hand and 2 pistols, because even though he had the hockey mask, he couldn't use the hockey stick, because they're like, well, you're a vigilante, you have a hockey mask on, you have a hockey stick, even though you used to play hockey, you're copying Casey Jones, and you can't do that because this isn't the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so you can't get away with that, obviously. And people are going to look at him and scratch their head like, okay, that's just silly and weird. Similar to what they said with Castiel on Supernatural. They're like, oh, he's copying John Constantine because of the cloak, the jacket he wears. But the difference is Castiel was an angel. John Constantine is a magician / occultist / master of the dark arts. He knows how to cast spells and do exorcisms and whatnot. Obviously, take on ghosts, demons, vampire, all of them, all types of monsters. But that's what I saw. I haven't really seen anything on The Flash like that. The last episode of The Flash actually was kind of a little, it was okay, but they had kind of like, the storylines were kind of like, you know, they had recurring ones, like I said, that kind of lapped over and were ran down, obviously, continuously. Like, they should have ended, they were repetitive, but it was the ones that they continued on to use, obviously, that they didn't end. With this episode, obviously, like I said, it was last week's episode when they went to the West, obviously, if I'm not mistaken, the Western episode, I think that was it last week, if I'm not mistaken. That was much better. I thought that was obviously much better. I think that was the last episode where they went down up to the West, and there was the old Western, obviously, situation, but where they went obviously back in time. But I thought that episode was much better. This just wasn't, like I said, overly political, super cringeworthy, and just like you see that on a lot of shows just randomly. Like I said, I haven't seen on mostly any other ones that can mention just a couple of situations here and there. I even remember a couple of episodes ago this season, I think it was episode 5, the Bay of Pigs, where they kind of did the take on the Cuban Missile Crisis with JFK and obviously Fidel Castro, where they obviously were involved in it, and they had people playing them, and they obviously were like, oh, we're getting to be a part of history and prevent obviously a big situation like this happen. I remember they had Spooner, the newest character on the show, obviously, who's obviously a terrible character. I don't know why they did that. She's obviously taking over for Mick Rory, who's leaving this show at the end of the season, and Mick Rory, played by Dominic Purcell, won't be on the next season, which will be the last of this show. He's now got, like I said, pregnant with babies on the back of his neck. She's playing this stereotypical, Spooner is playing the stereotypical conspiracy theorist, wearing the tinfoil hat, the whole alien situation, but the thing is like, oh no, I really actually hear aliens talking and stuff, and the whole situation, but she was never obviously experimented on, but she was just beamed up, obviously, and abducted by aliens, and somehow now she can hear contact and listen to them, similar to what we've seen on The Flash, which is Cecile having her her psychic telekinetic, I guess you can say, powers, where she can feel obviously what people are feeling and understand their thoughts and whatnot. She's not a mind reader, but she can get their feelings, so she can understand their feelings by kind of, listening to them. She doesn't hear their thoughts, but she knows if somebody obviously is hiding something or lying. It's similar to that, but what Spooner said a couple of weeks ago was, if there's any Proud Boys out there, I'll kick their butt or something. I was just like, that was just stupid. Why are you mentioning that? I would think it would be stupid if they even mentioned Antifa randomly in their episode. Like, I don't know why you're bringing all this stuff into a TV show where we're in the 21st century, but we're traveling through time, finding aliens, monsters, demons, vampires, ghosts, people from the past that are evil and have to be taken down, like Genghis Khan or Fidel Castro or something. So they're just putting stuff, they're forcing all of this, and it's just been very annoying, and just you just keep scratching your head, just like, this is why a lot of these movies and TV shows get annoying after a while, and people stop watching them. And obviously, with a lot of these Hollywood movies, that's why they keep flopping and failing. And it's just, like I said, it's a bunch of like I said, BS and propaganda. And it's very boring and annoying, and I don't like it. And that's why obviously I don't even like to watch a lot of these movies. They're overly political. A lot of these TV shows, they just keep inserting it, and you can see obviously why. You're looking around, like, you can tell if a show's not going to do very well. You sometimes can be wrong, but you're just looking around, like, upcoming comic book movies, like, I can tell this is going to do bad. Like, Marvel's got the Eternals and the new Shang-Chi movie coming out, and they look like they're going to fail and not do very well, minus obviously the situation they just had with the success of Black Widow, which will not get close to what Endgame sold or any of the Avengers movies, because nobody's looking at that movie like that, and obviously the character's obviously dead, so it's kind of like pointless. Plus, they missed their mark. If the Black Widow movie would have came out about 2, 3, 4 years ago, it would have actually done much better now. But they decided to do stuff. Marvel and obviously Disney decided to shoot themselves in the foot and make movies that obviously don't make any sense at all. Like another Thor movie, which is now there's 4 in total. That doesn't make any sense, and the third one shouldn't happen in the first place. and also Iron Man 3. I thought they both were terrible, and either one of those could have been replaced with Black Widow, obviously having her own solo movie out, or after the Captain America Winter Soldier movie. Her movie should have came out right after that, but and obviously Hawkeye. But now they're doing this years later, where both these movies are obviously are going to come out separate to TV show, obviously with Hawkeye. But both characters will no longer be reprising the roles, the actors reprising roles as these characters in these TV shows / movies. So that's what I've been seeing as far as the DC Legends show. We'll see what happens. Next week's episode, they're continuing to have the alien there, and they're taking care of it, and they're singing songs to the alien, and apparently there's some type of attack on the ship. That episode doesn't look, actually, based on the trailer that I just saw on TV Promo's YouTube channel for the next week's episode, which is season 6, episode 10. That doesn't look very interesting either, but I'm still going to watch it. It's just like, I think lots of times too with a lot of these shows is when they stick around for a long time, and I think they take themselves they don't take themselves very seriously. They don't do the whole we're taking ourselves overly serious. We tend to do things more loosely and freely, and the jokes fly more. I think that what happens is they get stuck in this whole stagnant phase where they kind of feel that they have to keep you try too hard, like I said, and now they're trying to mix things up. That's why I said they're inserting these overly political messages. I'm just looking at it like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm watching the show and randomly they're fighting aliens, and Mick Rory's daughter just brings up AOC, and I'm donating to her presidential campaign, and then a couple weeks ago Spooner said she's going to beat up some Proud Boys. I'm just like, this really doesn't need to be in the show at all. It's unnecessary. But like I said, that's what they're doing on a lot of these shows and movies, and that's why a lot of them are actually failing, and myself and like a lot of other people are glad that they're failing, and I hope they continue to fail, because when you just keep inserting, you keep forcing a lot of people to forcefully watch these movies and insert these overly political messages into them, and then obviously because of this, they hurt the obviously overall storyline, and obviously the backstory to these characters, and now you're changing people, and you're like, well, this character's not supposed to be like this, how he is in a comic book. It's just like really annoying, and that's why people are just like scratching it, like, we don't want to watch these movies anymore. And the fatigue with superhero TV shows and obviously superhero movies is starting to happen. Marvel's not going to have a good upcoming couple of years with these new movies. As far as DC goes, it seems like they are actually doing things right with the Justice League and the Snyder Cut situation, and now they're going to do a Green Lantern show. There's going to be a Justice League, probably a second Justice League movie, hopefully. I know the Flash is going to have his own movie out next year, his solo movie. The next Wonder Woman will be out soon, the third one, and obviously the second Aquaman movie will be on probably in the next year and a half or so. So they seem to be doing okay. DC sticks to, I guess, the storyline, but some people think they're all kind of like overly dark, but they're not. But they're fine. But Marvel, they've had obviously their success, but obviously the last 5-6 years. But now coming into this next year, it's looking like that's not going to happen with a couple of these movies. They're going to be duds. Like I said, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, the Eternals movie, some other movies that are going to come out. I'm trying to remember. I don't think the next Blade movie, the reboot of Blade, will be that great. I'm actually not looking forward to wanting to see it, but unfortunately, as a longtime Blade fan, I actually want to see what they're doing. Even though I don't want to, because I'm like, Wesley Snipes isn't in it, but just like with the next Thor movie, if obviously Chris Hemsworth was not in it, I wouldn't watch it. And even though, yes, Wesley Snipes will not be playing Blade again, I still want to see how they do it, and how the comparison to obviously how it is versus the original first one, obviously in 1999, and obviously what they do with that. But we'll see, because I still want to do my review on it and compare it to the other versions of it. But that's basically what I'm saying. Yeah, like myself and a lot of other people are just like looking around like, what does this have to do with the show, or what's going on, just like randomly. I thought it was just really weird, and we'll just see what happens though. But continue on with this show and the rest of these movies. It's just annoying, and that's why a lot of people actually don't even want to talk about politics when they even watch these movies. They just want to go see a movie. watch the movie and enjoy it, or watch the football or basketball game and just enjoy obviously watching your favorite teams play at the highest level that they obviously can compete at. But unfortunately, a lot of these companies like to just push their political agendas, and because of this, a lot of these companies, even a lot of news outlets, are losing ratings. They're firing lots of their staff members. They're closing up shop, and they're obviously going out of business because lots of people are just not buying it anymore. This whole hate click, rage click, clickbait whole ordeal with a lot of these TV shows and movies, it's just like annoying. Like, oh, I made you mad, so hopefully you'll watch it. It's just clickbait. It's a bait and switch as well. Like, oh, you think this is gonna happen, but it's not. Like I said, with the plot twist and whatnot, it's just really annoying. And you're just like, it's not exciting or nothing, or with the nuance. It's just like, it feels like children are kind of writing these shows, not grown adults. And because of this, you just get obviously, you just scratch your hand, like you're just getting like, I wouldn't say pissed off. You're just, annoyed is the one, yeah, because you're just like, like whatever. But that's basically what I'm seeing with this. Yeah, like I said, this episode was terrible. It was cringeworthy. It felt like a political rag of BS that I didn't want to see. A lot of what they put in this episode, I don't know what was going on, but last week's episode felt great. This one was terrible. Last week's episode with the old Western type of ordeal, if I'm not mistaken, which was episode 8 of this the season which they're on, which is the 6th one. That one I gave about an 8.5. This one is a 3.5. This was terrible. Not excited to next week's episode. I'm not excited about that either. It's looking average as well, and also weird and annoying. But the thing about this show is that it's one of the shows that's overly comical. So just like how I could say this is like the Guardians of the Galaxy type of ordeal for the CW shows, where it's the one where it doesn't take itself very seriously. It's more of a joke situation where they're going out and saving obviously people and stuff and whatnot, which obviously I get, but sometimes they try too hard and it just gets dragged into the ground because it's continuing to go over and over and over again. And like I said, now you're throwing in all these political I would say phrases and obviously randomness that doesn't obviously fit into what the show is, but they don't really care. They just do what they want. It's just really weird. Like, if we're having doing a show about if we're having a discussion about like let's say our favorite cars. If I throw out, I don't like this car because that guy, some guy that was running for president or something, was seen in the car, so I don't like that brand or something like that. Or it's just annoying. And I kind of tied it into like this basically. How people are, how they pick and choose, how they let people get away with specific stuff, like how they wouldn't call what this show runner or writers are doing this show and whatnot. I would equate to this: if you are a sports fan and you are let's say Eagles fan, you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan, you see your fellow fan robbing an old lady for her purse and running down the street with it and getting away with it. And obviously, you deciding not to join in and obviously stop him from doing that. But instead, you obviously look at the old lady and say, you brought on yourself, and he probably had a good reason why he stole that, because he's a stand-up person as a fellow Eagles fan like myself. But if the roles were reversed and I was a Patriots fan stealing that purse from that lady, you decided to jump in and apprehend him and stop him from stealing her money, and you obviously were able to get him from obviously hold him before the cops came. You would do that obviously because you said, well, he obviously had bad intentions of stealing that. He was selfish, so you're gonna call him out for that. So it's basically like this: you're gonna call out somebody on the opposite side about what they're doing, which is wrong, what they're saying, but the person on your side that's doing the exact same thing, you turn a blind eye and act like it's no big deal, and you actually don't care. You obviously encourage it. It's the mob mentality. It's also I would say probably I think I would say herd mentality, possibly hive mindset. Also, I would have to say probably it goes along the lines of tribalism and identity politics. Like, some people don't really care what the shows are doing and whatnot, but like I said before, lots of just continuing this with lots of other TV shows and whatnot. They're just throwing stuff at the wall and just seeing what sticks, but they just keep trying. It's kind of like trying to pile up a bunch of cars that are being wrecked in an accident. You just keep doing it. It's similar to what they're doing here, and obviously it's getting very obviously annoying, and you can obviously see what they're doing. So you're just looking around like, what's going on? I'm trying to watch this show, and all this stuff just keeps, like, they're thrown at. It's like a pop-up ad when you click on something. That's like what they're doing with this show. You don't like this? I'll throw this ad in your face. You don't like that? Click off this ad. If you don't like this, we're gonna, just the overly political messages and whatnot. You're just like, what's going on here? So that's what I see with this show, with this specific episode, not in this show, but with this specific episode, and some of the phrases I've been seeing in the last couple episodes, and just random stuff happening, and you're just like scratching your head, like, why they have this be written into the script, why this character say that, it's just really weird. But we'll see what happens, obviously, on next week's episode, and what will continue to happen on the show. I just wanted to say that this is a long video, I know, but I just wanted to include that because obviously I wanted to discuss that and go on, obviously, not a tangent, but I just want to say a review / kind of an explanation, which is not a rant. You could classify it as that, but me just saying this because I'm just like, what's going on here, And then you just see with a bunch of shows, like, this is what obviously is how most things are now. Even like a lot of the comedy too, it's like overly political, and just like, and this is why a lot of people are just like not watching this stuff. And the music is doing it too. Specifically, you're just like, I don't understand, like, what? Actually, excuse me, you understand? But you're just like, I don't, like, with the sudden switch, it's just like, what's going on, like, overnight. But that's how most things are now. That's why most of the entertainment that people are seeing with these big blockbuster movies, that's why a lot of them aren't doing very well, because specifically with repetition, a lot of people were like, another Fast and Furious movie, is it over yet? I love the movies. I didn't see this one. My favorite is the second one, which is Too Fast, Too Furious, but after the Paul Walker situation, they should have stopped making them. They just keep doing them. Hey, they're making lots of money, so they really don't care. That's how things are, with the studio. They're like, that's how basically it is, because they're the ones who make the final decisions. They're the ones who obviously are writing and producing and giving the money out to these actors and actresses for the money, for their obviously time. So if they want to go ahead and do it, they're the ones who we're going to write off, because they say, okay, we're going to give you this money, go out and make the movie. This is basically what's happening, whatnot. But that's basically what I have to say about this. Again, to end this episode of DC Legends of Tomorrow was terrible, cringeworthy, and just overtly disgusting. I didn't like it. But that's, like I said, too political, overly political, too cringeworthy. They tried too hard to force it. The comedy in Hollywood now is just not what it used to be. Like, it used to be creative. Now it's just like, we're just trying too hard. Like, everybody's trying to be hip and trendy and new and nuance with the kids, and like, I'm just watching the show and they're like, yeah, let's get lit. I'm not just like, I don't even say that word myself, and I'm 29, and I was just like, that was just cringeworthy. Please don't ever say that again. I thought that was ignorant. And like I said, not just that, it was skin crawling, basically, like, well, you felt like like I said, cringeworthy. Like I said, going into the realm of it being just like that. I'm just like, don't try to be what obviously overly hip, or I'm throwing shade at you, like all these nuanced terms and words and phrases in pop culture. Now they're just sticking them in from rap and hip hop. They're putting in all these shows, and they're not supposed to. They're gonna put that in there regardless. But it's just like, why would you? Now it's just like, we're trying to be hip and new. What are the kids doing? What are the kids like nowadays? What's the new hip thing? So that's what I see. That obviously is. That's why you see a lot of these politicians with a lot of these rappers, and they actually probably have never heard any of their music, or barely even know who they are. But you're popular, so I'm going to stand next to you because I need to get people to do what I want, so you can help me do that. So that's basically what, you can help me get my message across. So that's basically what's going on right now. So that's all I wanted to say about this, obviously, and obviously more of what we see in all these videos and movies and TV shows, because they're getting overly political, and it's getting really annoying and overly boring, and they're just forcing all this stuff to be put into all these situations, these TV shows and whatnot episodes, and it's just like, I don't know why you're doing that. Actually, well, excuse me, like I said, I know why you're doing that, but I'm like, I'm looking at you like, did you really have to do that? But they want to because they feel like they need to. But like I said, that's all I have to say about this episode, DC Legends of Tomorrow, which was season 6, episode 9. The 10th episode will be next week. I'm not looking forward to watching it, but I'm gonna see what happens to review it. And just like this week's episode, I did the exact same thing. I thought it was going to be okay before I watched it, because I saw the alien, and I'm just like, not really. I thought it was funny when Nate was doing his, like, TV slash, kind of a interview type of ordeal for the job, and he was like, standing there saying, is this for the CW? Obviously laughing because obviously the show that he's on is on the network of the CW. So that's basically it. That's all I have to say about this and more. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you haven't watched this TV show. If you have seen this episode, or if you have not, or if you stopped watching, like I said, this show and the other shows that are on the superhero shows and movies that are happening, the current ones of the last couple of years. Because I know some people are saying, like I said, they're tapped out, they're burnt out, they're tired of it, the whole superhero movie ordeal. A lot of people are getting annoyed of it, but we'll see what happens. Obviously, the bigger ones, the more popular ones will do better. Newer characters that people aren't familiar with to the public, but characters that have been around for a long time, people obviously will not be drawn to them. Like I said, Marvel's going to have a problem with Shang-Chi and the Eternals. I don't think those movies are going to do very well in comparison to obviously the last Avengers movie, and obviously Black Widow, and obviously, of course, the upcoming Thor movie. So we'll see what happens with that. But thank you for watching my video again, and that's all I have to say about this episode. And obviously, like I said, I didn't like it at all. It's too overly political. And that's obviously what we're seeing a lot of in Hollywood and a lot of these TV shows, and obviously the music industry. It's just overly, they're just continuing to push, and like I said, it's like a propaganda slash, I would say, what's the word? It's just very forceful, like I said, but that's basically what's happening. Thank you again for watching. That's all I have to say about this again. Bye. Thank you for watching.